1984 was a terrible year for India. 3 events, all related: Operation Blue Star in June, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's assassination in October, and the mass killing of Sikhs in November tore apart the democratic and secular fabric of the country. It started in Amritsar. Operation Blue Star was carried out by the Indian Army to flush out militants from the Golden Temple in Amritsar, the holiest shrine of the Sikh community. With terrorists holed up within the shrine, the army was brought in. What followed was a conflict that left scores dead. Estimates are that around 200 soldiers and over 1,000 militants died. This included extremist leader Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale and many civilians. Tragically, the assault on the Golden Temple coincided with the martyrdom anniversary of Guru Arjan Dev, the 6th Guru of the Sikhs, on the 3rd of June. A large number of pilgrims from all over Punjab had gathered in the Golden Temple on the occasion. So what led to Operation Blue Star? Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale was a fiery young Sikh preacher and leader of a religious seminary at Damdami Taksal, not far from Amritsar. He encouraged Sikhs to return to the roots of their Khalsa faith and demanded a separate homeland of Khalistan if the discrimination against Sikhs didn't end. Bhindranwale rose to prominence in 1978 after instigating a clash between radical Sikhs and the Nirankaris in Amritsar, resulting in the death of 15 people. The Nirankaris were a minority sect within Sikhism, and Bhindranwale considered them heretics. Sikh militancy in Punjab took a dangerous turn following this clash. Bhindranwale grew more and more angry with the Indian government and with the Hindu community after Prime Minister Indira Gandhi dismissed the Shiromani Akali Dal government in Punjab. To fundamentalist Sikhs, this iterated their belief that they were being discriminated against by the Indian government. Another bone of contention was the government's refusal to grant statehood to Punjab. This was a demand made by the Akali Dal, which was pursuing a religion and language-based political agenda. Punjab was finally given statehood in 1966, but the Akali Dal was unable to corner the Sikh vote. To galvanize the Sikh vote, the Akali Dal adopted the controversial Anandpur Sahib resolution in 1973, demanding that Chandigarh and Punjabi-speaking areas in Haryana be handed over to Punjab. It also demanded full autonomy for the state. More controversially, the resolution identified Sikhs as a separate nation. So to divide the Sikhs and keep the Akali Dal in check, experts believe that Indira's son Sanjay Gandhi was covertly supporting Bhindranwale. As a result, the competitive religious politics of the Akali Dal and Bhindranwale radicalized Sikh youth and encouraged secessionism. It wasn't long before Bhindranwale emerged as a Frankenstein monster who challenged the might of the Indian state through armed insurgency. Then in 1980, the All India Sikh Students Federation proclaimed the formation of Khalistan, a separate Sikh state, at a meeting in the Golden Temple complex. They even elected London-based separatist leader Jagjit Singh Chauhan as its president. Bhindranwale immediately stepped up terrorist activities, starting with the assassination of Nirankari leader Baba Gurcharan Das. In 1981, Lala Jagat Narayan, editor of a popular Punjabi newspaper, was killed. Bhindranwale was linked to both killings. The violence continued, and in April 1983, a senior Sikh police officer, A.S. Atwal, was gunned down outside the Golden Temple. After this, Bhindranwale moved into the Akal Takht, the temporal seat of Sikhism within the Golden Temple complex. Now communal violence began to spin out of control, with Hindus being dragged out of buses and trains and killed in Punjab. In retaliation, Sikhs were killed in Haryana. There was no let-up and communal tensions grew stronger. Finally, in early 1984, to prevent Punjab from falling into further chaos, the Indian government decided that Bhindranwale had to be brought to justice. By now, Bhindranwale had turned the Golden Temple complex into a military fortress. It was home to militants carrying AK-47 rifles and light machine guns. A retired Major General, Shabeg Singh, a decorated officer who was in the limelight during the Bangladesh War, was an advisor to Bhindranwale. He was also the brain behind the fortification of the Golden Temple. At first, Indira Gandhi was not in favor of sending the army into the Golden Temple, but she gave the go-ahead when she was convinced that there was no other option. The operation was codenamed Blue Star. Lieutenant General Krishnaswamy Sundarji was asked to plan the operation and Major General K.S. Brar was to execute it. The operation began on the 1st of June 1984. Curfew was imposed across Punjab and all modes of communications, including the media, were shut down. On the first night of the operation itself, army commandos were gunned down by terrorists firing from strategically positioned hideouts in the Golden Temple. The army used machine guns, light artillery, rockets and eventually battle tanks. The Akal Takht was severely damaged and the Golden Temple bore bullet marks despite the army's efforts to protect the sanctity of the shrine. Bhindranwale was killed in a gun battle on the 6th of June and his body recovered from the Akal Takht. Operation Blue Star had flushed out militants from the Golden Temple complex, but it enraged Sikhs worldwide. Operation Blue Star was a turning point. It also set the stage for other cataclysmic events, one of which was the assassination of Indira Gandhi.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and Mrs. Reagan. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthems of India and the United States of America.
Prime Minister, this concludes the honors.
Mr. Prime Minister, Nancy and I take great pleasure in welcoming you and Mrs. Gandhi to the White House today. In 1949, your grandfather, Prime Minister Nehru, visited the United States on what he termed a voyage of discovery. He said that though we may know the history and something of the culture of our respective countries, what is required is a true understanding and appreciation of each other. Well, Mr. Prime Minister, your visit marks a continuation of that process of mutual discovery. Today, we celebrate the depth and vitality of the ties between our nations. We Americans place great value on India's friendship. Our shared democratic ideals serve as a bridge between us. Our cultural differences enrich our relationship. Our mutual commitment to the freedom and dignity of man set us on a different road, a higher road, than governments which deny the human rights so cherished by our peoples. Mr. Prime Minister, on this, your own voyage of discovery, you will find a deep well of affection and respect for India and its people. You will sense America's admiration for India's strength in overcoming adversities and a heartfelt sympathy for the tragedy that you personally suffered. You will also discover that the United States remains steadfastly dedicated to India's unity and that we firmly oppose those who would undermine it. Mr. Prime Minister, you will find that we respect India's non-alignment and recognize the pivotal role your country plays in South Asia. We are supportive of your efforts and those of others in South Asia to overcome past animosities in seeking stability, security, and cooperation in the region. Mr. Prime Minister, our peoples have much to gain from one another. Enthusiasm for the growing potential of our commercial and economic relations is evident here. Expanding cultural, scientific, and educational exchanges will also be a great boon to both our peoples. Our countries have areas of disagreement, yet these are opportunities to prove our mutual goodwill by discussing our differences forthrightly. We do so with confidence because we're convinced that our fundamental areas of agreement far outweigh the differences of the moment. This understanding gives us reason for optimism about the future of our relations. Your stay with us will also provide us a better understanding of you, Mr. Prime Minister. Americans are impressed with what they've seen. Your leadership and your idealism are inspiring. We're eager to learn more of your vision for India's future. I've been impressed with your efforts to invigorate India's economy. In much of the developing world, people are moving away from redistribution and state control, methods that have brought only a scarcity and suffering. New and more successful models for development focus on incentives rather than controls, on production rather than redistribution. And here in the United States, we've found that reducing tax rates has been the most important factor in the progress we've made, and we have every reason to look to the future with confidence and optimism. Just as current technology overcame past problems, new technologies will provide solutions to maladies which today seem insurmountable. Free people, free minds, and free markets will develop innovations which will ensure a more prosperous and peaceful tomorrow. The people of the United States look forward to working with India in building a better tomorrow. 3 years ago, when the late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and I met here, we agreed that a festival of India would advance America's knowledge of India's heritage and achievements. You will inaugurate that festival, now dedicated to your mother's memory, during your visit here this week. This is an auspicious year for such a festival. As you know, it has been dubbed the Year of India in recognition of a resurgent American interest in India's culture and history. I look forward to our talks, for I'm sure that, as with our predecessors, we too will be enriched by the exchange. This is an opportunity to broaden the understanding and deepen the cooperation between our countries and to advance the cause of peace in your region and in the world. Mr. Prime Minister, on behalf
in the supremacy of freedom, in the necessity of equality, in the sovereignty of the people's will. As I flew in here, I saw in passing the memorial to Thomas Jefferson, who proclaimed in simple and stirring words that all men are created equal and independent. Behind me is a house which has been the home of eminent men who have symbolized your nation's dreams and its drive to greatness. One of them, Abraham Lincoln, said that a nation cannot be half slave and half free, and that a house divided against itself cannot stand. The best minds of our age tell us that a world divided against itself cannot endure. It should be the task of all of us who hold responsibility for other people's lives to recognize what life and its continuous demand in this hate-filled, violence-prone world of ours. The inevitability of coexistence must propel us towards the imperative of cooperation. The United States and India have been developing a tradition of working together. If my visit strengthens that tradition, it will have given further substance to what is, in any case, one of the most important and one of the most pleasantly rewarding of journeys. I look forward, in particular, to my talks with you, Mr. President. We know of your lifelong feeling for India and look forward to welcoming you there. From this week, a Festival of India opens here in Washington. Several other cities will soon join in it. The festival portrays India's aspirations, achievements, and ancient living heritage. I hope that it will enable the people of the United States to understand what we are, why we are so, and how the Indian civilization has endured for 5,000 years. The purpose of the festival is to secure greater understanding and with it greater friendship from the American people who have themselves built a dynamic civilization. It was a great act of imagination and constructiveness when you and our late Prime Minister decided we should try to develop a better grasp of each other through the medium of culture. I am sure it will provide a story for developing an understanding and cooperation in other fields. Thank you again, Mr. President, for your welcome and for the opportunity for this renewal of our dialogue.
Minister, this concludes the ceremony.
after 78 one-day games, he still hadn't scored his first one-day century. All that changed when India took on Australia in Colombo in 1994.
Oh, that's a most emphatic stroke. 6 runs. What a glorious pickup.
Yeah, well, there we go again. That's exactly what we were talking about. Just straying onto that middle and leg. And Tendulkar just helping us on its way.
Oh, what a fine stroke. No one's going to stop that. 4 more. And that's a fine stroke. It's going to be 4 more.
It's made it look so simple.
Down the wicket he comes, another great shot. That could be a 6, and it is. A yard over the long-on fence. So 6 more to Sachin Tendulkar, and he's really now cutting loose. Let's watch him again. Use of the feet, and away goes the ball.
Well, that's one of them. It could be the 100. They're going for the second. Yes, that's Tendulkar's 100. His first international 100. International one-day 100, and he must be vastly relieved. He's getting a good hand from all the Australians, and that's very nice to see. And a tremendous effort by him, and his old school chum, Vinod Kambli, goes down the wicket and puts his arms round him. Lovely.
Action! Cut! Action! Very low. Kunal, camera. Action! Action! Shot. Goal, 100 years of cinema. Rakesh ji, cricket match ready ho raha.
तूने खेल ऐसा खेला तेरी याद में जागू रात भर बाजीगरो बाजीगर तू है बड़ा जादूगर बाजीगरो बाजीगर तू है बड़ा जादूगर तेरी याद में जागू
He lost it and then they sell it off. Shooting देखना है? हाँ? थोड़े दिन में आएगा. मिलेगा. आराम से देख पैर में. अभी आएगा जिस. कौन आ रहा अभी? फारूक भाई. हाँ. Thank you. 9 बजे आएगा. 9 बजे आके देखा बेटा. 9 बजे आएगा. आराम से यार. लगेगा. चलो आता है अभी आता है. तो मैं देखो शूटिंग देखने का है ना. तो ये देखने का है काम करने का है. काम करने का. एक्टिंग करने का है.
Ready? Camera, trolley.
पहले शॉट भी नहीं.
Action here comes to you.
कटर पकड़ो. एक 5 मिनट.
Cut it. Action. Ready? Cut.
करने वाली है क्या? आलू ही करते हो. इसके 3 किलोमीटर डाउन था. इसके बीच में 3 किलोमीटर एक मिनट आएगा. सबका आएगा हमारा. अरे क्यों नहीं आएगा? हमारे लिए तो यहाँ तक आए गुरु. सुनो भाई. हम सही जगह खड़े हुए.
My feelings are that I'm satisfied with the decision that we took. I'm satisfied in the manner in which the decision was implemented by our scientists, engineers, and by the personnel of the Army and the Air Force who are involved in it. I'm satisfied with the results as we see them on the ground here and elsewhere in this Pokhran region.
आप खेलने से ये वाला पॉइंट साढ़े वो आउटपुट लगा छोड़ यार बहुत दूर हो जाएगा।
Today, at 15:45 hours, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests in the Pokhran range. These tests conducted today were with a fission device, a low-yield device, and a thermonuclear device. The measured yields are in line with expected values. Measurements have also confirmed that there was no release of radioactivity into the atmosphere. These were contained explosions like the experiment conducted in May 1974. I warmly congratulate the scientists and engineers who have carried out these successful tests. Thank you very much indeed. I am not replying to any questions now. The official spokesman will meet you this evening, and then you can put all your questions to him. Thank you.
Tail, IFF air to ground tail is there. Reset, runway heading is 084 and FCS reset is applied. Confirm trims are neutral. Okay, last check of controls. Okay, going to IRP. Okay, waiting for roll call. Clear to go. 240, rotating. And climbing up. Okay, 490, traveling back. Okay, showing 420 on the standby, yes sir. Altitude is 3.11. Roger, 363 indicating 350 on the standby and 362 on the HUD. HUD seems to be okay. What's the altimeter? Okay, 336 on HUD. Increasing.
When you turn, roll out on 040.
Roger, 040. Dropping speed to 300.
Right.
Okay, going by alpha brackets, 12 alpha now at 316 on the HUD. Okay, commencing descent for flare. Affirmative. Lying down.
Roger. Slightly ahead.
Affirmative. Lying down.
No, that's it. It had to be less than 9. Less than 9. That's it.
We have a chief in the other aircraft, as well as PG also.
The icing on the cake, of course, was brought by the IA. May I ask to do the honor of the name? Show our appreciation to you and everyone under you.
So I must apologize for driving. I can only assure you, in the next 3 years I'm going to drive you harder. But I'll also assure you, if I'm going to drive you hard, I'm going to drive myself hard. You have done an excellent. You can take the rest of the afternoon off.
And I had only one thought when his aircraft moved up. And as it came abreast to where we were standing, I said I should have been sitting in there.
I hope I'm not going to lose my job, sir.
Okay.
More than 1,000 scientists, more than 1 billion people, one aspiration: to witness India's giant leap to the moon.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
First time the scientists have launched with all so many complex technologies they have used, and they succeeded. That is historical according to me.
After travel of nearly 400,000 kilometers, to achieve such a precision, perhaps it's a sort of a world record. And the anxiety before the event and the type of happiness what we have enjoyed after the event was tremendous.
All our hard work had paid dividends in that day. And once we say that we could receive the first signal from Chandrayaan on dot, at the set time from our facility was something wonderful for me.
We have collected a large amount of imageries from the moon, and the information that has been brought in, it takes easily more than 10 years to have even a quick look at it.
We have already established the right type of credentials through the Chandrayaan and the other type of mission, that today the international community is certainly looking forward to collaborating with India in major the undertakings in the context of space exploration.
at T0 minus 4.8 seconds.
10, 9,
अब कुछ ही क्षणों में ड्रम इंजन का इग्निशन होगा.
5, 4, 3, 2.
So L40s have been ignited, and it's the liftoff of the S139 stage. A very majestic liftoff from the second launch pad.
Plus 10 seconds.
रॉकेट काफी गड़गड़ाहट के साथ इस समय जो है अपने गंतव्य की ओर.
139 and L40 performance normal.
So we just now heard the announcement. L40s and S139 stage is performing nominally. And the vehicle is piercing through the clouds.
इस समय रॉकेट जो है 250 मीटर ऊपर पहुंच चुका है और यहाँ हमको इतनी दूर बैठने के बाद भी काफी तेजी से गड़गड़ाहट की आवाज सुनाई पड़ रही है.
So we are at 47 seconds after liftoff. The first event that we look forward now is
सबसे पहले हमको ये देखना होगा कि ये
RSO to ROD command executed.
Roger.
दर्शकों, मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि रॉकेट में कुछ नई खराबी आई है. इस वजह से हम आपको आगे का हाल नहीं दिखा पाएंगे. जब हमको पूरी जानकारी मिल जाएगी तब हम आपसे फिर बातचीत करेंगे. धन्यवाद. धन्यवाद.
Okay, we are just going off air now. We see some problem during the first stage flight, and we'll go off air now.